Chasing zero. What does that mean exactly? It means having no patient harm over a period of time. It means covering something up. A hospital's goal is to have no patient harm, no adverse med errors, no surgical mistakes, so forth and so on. But as you guys all heard in that video, hospitals tend to cover things up, and it's not good for business, bad for business. And while it's, every hospital's goal nationwide theoretically to have zero harm done to any of their patients, in reality it's usually not how it works. And an example of this harm that is very preventable is early discharges, especially from ICU. When you have an early discharge, there's all sorts of problems that it opens up a patient and the staff that are involved. It opens up problems with them as well, especially on a different unit who may not have the qualifications to care for that patient or the monitoring needed for that patient. The rate of readmission back to ICU or back to the hospital in general, the increased mortality rates, the increased, adverse effects that it has on everybody involved just goes up exponentially, mainly because you just don't want to keep them for an extra day or two. I just don't understand. I see it all the time where I work at. Two incidences that just happened recently. 2 separate patients, both with AFib RVR. One that was a direct admit from the ER, came out too early, went back to ICU I think 3 different times, and stayed up probably about an extra week and a half altogether before he was finally able to be discharged. And it was only then that he was discharged because he had a ablation done to correct his rhythm. And the other patient started off on the med-surg floor, went to ICU, and with a heart rate in the 130s to 140s, the nurse manager was pushing him out the door because she wanted to take the ICU nurses and send him down to the ER to work. And that patient happened to be mine when he was transferred over to med-surg. And within an hour and a half, I took him right back down to ICU with a heart rate of 165 to 175 sustained. What was the reasoning behind that? Why? Because you wanted the nurse somewhere else? The hell with the patient? I mean, I fight tooth and nail for all of my patients, and that was one that I was fighting. I fought everybody. And he ended up in ICU for another 48 to 72 hours. And then was brought back over to med-surg for almost a week. And I discharged him just the other day. So as we strive to do no harm, let's actually do no harm. Let's actually care for the patient. Have a policy set in place for ICU discharges. Have a minimum stay of at least 24 hours. Not a two-hour rate conversion and send them right back. No. If you're in ICU, stay until you are ready to come out.